We're in London, England, and today we're going to see how jellied eels are made. If you think that fish and chips is the most traditional fish dish that you can get here in London, think again. Jellied eels and London have a history that is hundreds of years old, going back to the times where the eel population was thriving in the River Thames. Nowadays, there are not as many eels as there were in the past, but the dish has stood the test of time. Let's go see how it's made. In their glory days, jellied eels were so popular that in the east end of London, competition among vendors was tough. Today, jellied eels can be found all over the UK at summer kiosks and racecourses, but there are only a handful of merchants who actually make them, all based in London. One of these is Barney's, an East End institution run by Mark Button, by his father Eddie before him, and now Mark's son has even gotten involved. Despite the challenges, Mark believes that jellied eels are far from being on the verge of disappearing.
The eel has become harder to get. We used to have eels every day from Whitstable and Southend-on-Sea. They used to come up to London, literally, 1,000 kilos a day would come into London of fresh Thames eels, Thames estuary eels, but they're no longer there, they disappeared. The price of eels today are dearer than salmon. When my father took over the business in the 1960s, the man that sold him the business said, "I don't think there's much left of it, see what you can do." And that was in 1965, which I know is 55 years ago, because that's when I was born. 55 years later, we're still going on. We've now got the third generation in the business.
The first step to making jellied eels is to clean the fish, take the guts out, and cut the eels into portions.
These are the eels. I mean, they start off as live eels last night, but we have them stunned, so they are ready to work. Otherwise, if they were too movement, the boys couldn't work on them, it was too dangerous.
Oh, I see.
They're very sharp knives. They're fantastic to work, otherwise you'd never handle them. If it's a live eel, you'd pick them up, you'd be chasing them around the room.
Is it easier to clean than like a normal fish?
Well, these guys have been doing it for many years, so they find it easy, but even if you put a man who works with normal fish, flat fish, on this job, they would find it very hard. It's a different shaped fish, it's a different bone, it's the different pressures you put on the, you can see Simon at the end there, he uses a lot of strength in his arms and wrists to push it through.
All right, yeah, so they have different knives actually.
Yeah, this is like a filleted knife. And the guys here are cutting, using a cutting knife.
Oh, I see.
For every cut, there's hundreds and hundreds of cuts per day.
So they have to be sharp.
So they have to be very sharp. And they have to concentrate because you don't want to lose a digit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the finger is very close. I've read that the eels only have one bone.
With the jelly process, we leave the bone in and the customer eats around the bone.
Okay, so the part that you eat, is it just the beginning? Or you also eat
the flatter part is no good, so the pieces would start here, so from behind the gill, going back right the way through. So when you gut these pieces when they're cooked will be open, and these pieces when they're cooked will be round, which you'll see when I'll show you.
All right. So you know where they come from.
Some people they call these the horseshoe pieces. So it looks like a horseshoe, which is open. That's where the food's been removed out of the belly.
And you leave the skin as well.
Leave the skin on. Yeah.
And where do they come from? They don't come from the Thames, right?
No, we haven't had any English eels for many years now. We get eels from Holland. And also we get wild eels from Northern Ireland, from Loch Ness. Well, this time of year, because they've taken on a winter coat, they've been feeding well and they're storing body fat, so they're very good high fat content, which gives the eel a chance to migrate on a 6,000-7,000 mile journey, and they lose weight as they're swimming. But when they're a summer eel and they've been eating a lot of food, but they're not absorbing it, the meat will be thinner, but it will eat softer, because they're not storing it, so it's not storing the fuel.
So this one will have more body, it will be more meaty.
More meaty, yeah. At the moment, we're processing about 300 kilos a day.
Once all the eels have been cut in portions, we move to this other room where they will be boiled in herb-infused water.
So we flavour the water with a bouquet garni, which is mainly parsley and pimentos.
Oh, so this
has got the...
Yeah, I can smell it.
Smell the aroma.
And so the bag is never open, it stays closed in there just to flavour the water?
Just to flavour the water, then we remove that and the water's flavoured.
Okay.
We add the eels to it. Depending on the nature of the eel, this time of year they take a bit longer to cook, about 45-50 minutes.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah, in the summer months it can be 30 minutes because the eel is softer because it's a summer eel. So explaining about the winter coat, they take a bit longer to cook to compensate to make the flesh softer. So we're slowly seeing the eels cook. The sediment is on the eel and that will be taken off and the fat's coming to the top as well. Like anything else you're skimming the fat off and it'll leave the juice clear for being decanted into the bowls.
It smells already like
you can
herby,
smell the parsley in the air, and because we've now got 4 pots on, the aroma here, I mean we haven't got smelly vision yet, but the aroma is quite pleasant.
Yeah, it doesn't smell like, I don't know, when you're doing a fish soup. No, not at all. It smells very fresh, like the parsley, as you said.
That's right, you can smell the herbs.
Yeah. And will you add any more ingredients, or that is that? Like
no, the only thing Simon will add to this is salt.
Salt?
Yeah, a bit nearer the end process rather than the beginning.
Wait, so how about the jelly? So you don't add any gelatin?
Yeah, we use the gelatin granule. Because of the commercial volume and setting them and travelling and shelf life, we have to use a granulated gelatin.
Okay, because I've read that the fish itself releases some...
If you was to cook one eel on its own, put it in the fridge overnight in the water you cook it in, it would jellify, but not to the point of sending it to Leigh-on-Sea or Clacton or Scotland or anywhere else. We've got to have shelf life now, so the gelatin powder suspends it with the salt and gives it a good shelf life.
Our jellied eel bowls are ready and they will now rest for about a day. Overnight, the gelatin will set and the eels will slowly float to the top.
So here we have yesterday's production, which are now jellied eels. They come in a bowl like this. We're ready for the main label with all the data on, which we've followed through on production.
And here they are.
But it's a sealed lid because we put them on hot, so the...
Oh!
And that is the
nice wiggle.
finished product there.
How many pieces of eels?
It's approximately 90 pieces.
Okay.
Approximately. It's done by eye and visual over the years. The person doing it gets a good eye to what's in there. If the eels are cut slightly bigger, there'll be slightly less pieces.
Yeah.
These are a good winter eel. There should be a good 85 to 90 pieces. Jellied eels. So this is the finished product.
And that's it, now it's nice and solid.
So now you've got the solid gelatin texture. A consumer would take the pieces out and now you've got the jelly.
Ooh. So normally do you eat it like this? Or
most people would eat them. I mean, we've just taken this out of the fridge, so it's going to be extremely cold.
Cool.
But it's better when the jelly becomes a little bit more room temperature and not too floppy. But eating wise, that's the piece of eel.
Whoa. And that's the bone there, huh?
That's the bone. That's left. You've got the saltiness in the jelly and you've got the texture of the fish. If you wanted to try this clean spoon there, it does get a bit messy with the gelatin. I'll leave you with that.
All right. Which one should I have? Should I have the one
all,
that's
open
good. Or the one from
the open
back?
piece is good.
This one? Oh, there's a lot of gelatin.
You can knock some of the jelly off. Some people don't always like the flavour. And being it's cold, as I said, it's just come straight out of the fridge, so it's cold.
All right, let me get the bone. All right. It's good.
Yes.
I don't mind the jelly.
Get
I
the
actually like
saltiness in the jelly.
Yeah. I like the saltiness of the jelly with the fish.
Yeah.
I think they go very well together, yeah. The fish is nice, as you said.
The eel is
texture,
it's a lost thing. People don't always want to eat eel, but it's...
I mean, this gives it a bit more character, I think. Just the eel itself is like just...
And you can imagine this, you know, if you're out enjoying yourself and not in a factory environment, these are quite nice. And
it's
if
a
you're
nice
having a drink
snack
as well, it's a nice snack.
Yeah?
Or a meal even, you know.
So do you think it is better like this than with like vinegar or just
with some
something on top?
I mean, we've got some non-brewed vinegar. If you'd like to try another piece with some vinegar on, would you like to try that?
Okay.
Yeah. So people would just do that.
Yeah. Yay. Why not? Yeah, it's good. It's more salty now. But yeah, you still get the freshness of the jelly and the fish. If you think that fish and chips is the most has stood the test of time. Fish dish. It's just a lot of ish. The dish has stood the test of time. The test. But
Taste the time. I like it.